Welcome to Game Soup, the game design podcast with Chloe Montgomery.
And Kayla Dice. Back in the kitchen.
Back in the kitchen, we try to take two ingredients, two words, try to make a game out of those two words.
We're not going to crosstalk this time.
Do our best.
Or at least not deliberately with a countdown like we did in the last episode.
No. We've formulated a amazing system. We've got all of our ingredients set out already.
Oh, yeah. I mean, on the live feed that doesn't exist, you can...
Yeah.
Stacked up there, we've got, big jar of dice in a pasta tube. We've got, I don't know, a squeezy tube of tarot. Squat it out, it's a card. Oh no, the tower. Oops.
And it's all crumpled up because it was in a tube.
Yeah. That's like, it's like extra inverted, I guess. Yeah. So I solicited some suggestions on Blue Sky.
The hot new social.
And I got 8 suggestions from Blue Sky, so
Ooh.
I think that's a good sign for the health of that platform. I don't know.
It's more than Twitter.
Yeah, I didn't try soliciting on Tumblr.
No, I tried soliciting on Twitter, and I got one from my flatmate that was just the word soup.
Ooh, I feel like if we're getting that meta, we need to wait until like episode 10.
That's a special Patreon episode, like...
That's like the how time flies. Like that's not an episode 2. You don't go that hard that quickly.
Our words are game and soup.
Our words are Kayla and Chloe.
Oh wow, that's a mix made in hell.
So you're going to grab from
randomwordgenerator.com. I mean,
yes.
Our pantry.
Yes, our pantry of fortune, and I'm going to pick a special one suggested by members of the public.
Okay.
I'm deciding which one I want to do.
What looks palatable?
I've got this one. I think I'll go with this one first.
Okay, go ahead. What we got?
Skyward.
Skyward. And my word is shell.
Skyward Shell.
It's almost a Zelda game.
Yeah, that almost, I feel like, almost sounds like the title.
So who sent in Skyward?
Yes, I got to remember to credit. I just let my lock screen back on. No, that was from Moss Dagger with an 2 G's and an A. .bsky.social. I don't know. I feel like that's redundant to say the dot, but it's in there.
Oh well, if we're getting into Blue Sky names.
Yes, that was from Moss. Thank you, Moss, for suggesting in Skyward.
Skyward Shell.
Skyward Shell. What do you? I feel like Skyward is the easier half of this, so I feel like we need to decide what we think Shell is in this context.
So I think I've kind of polluted the idea, the brain space, by putting in Skyward Sword, because I'm thinking it's just Skyward Sword, but you ride around on a big shell. I want the shell to be the main word, I think.
Okay.
So
this will be a hard one for me to throw in ideas, because I've never fully played a Zelda game. I've played a bit of Twilight Princess.
There we go. We've removed it entirely. Because you've never played one. So first thought is you are playing some sort of shell-based creature under the sea. Your hermit crab, your normal crab. I don't know what else has it. Yeah, a turtle. I like hermit crabs because they're sort of like you could change your equipment with changing your shell.
Changing the shell, yeah. I like that.
And your quest is to get to the sky, i.e. the surface of the water.
Okay, yeah. And so is this a fighting game?
Yeah, I think it's like a dungeon crawler, but you're under the water.
Yeah.
And you have crabs.
Upwards rather than downwards.
Exactly.
What kind of shells do you think would be? Because I don't know. I reckon maybe you have a starter like, oh, yep, this is a shell. It's made of coral is what shells are made of. I've realized I don't know, but I got too far into that sentence to back out.
I'm gonna look.
It's made of shell material.
Shells are made of calcium carbonate, which I think is, I want to say, chalk.
Teeth?
Oh, don't hold me on that.
But so yeah, you have the shell, and then maybe you get this is a bronze shell. But then eventually I want to get you get skull, You get helmet of dead soldier. You get like weird
mermaid
things,
scale,
and I think this
like...
is all an environmental message.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, like you've got tin cans that are floating down at the bottom, like those old 6-pack things that fish would get stuck in.
Yeah, like, and I guess you use pollution weapons, or they're pollution enemies.
I think pollution's the baddie. Yeah.
Yeah, the baddie is pollution. You're going up to the surface to, I don't know, fucking snap an oil executive.
Well, that's the final boss.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Finding Nemo, but it's a dungeon crawler.
Finding Nemo dungeon crawler. I like this. What kind of enemies are there?
I think, well, I mean, obviously, you have shell-based critters. Your level 1 goblin is your snail.
And I guess the closer you get to the surface, the more they get polluted, which I guess we treat more as like radiation or magic shit in games rather than like...
exactly. Like,
rather than just like they're hurt. It's like, oh no, the shark
table.
Yeah. What mechanics would you do? Do you play much dungeon crawlers?
Sadly, yes.
Is that a sadly? I don't
know.
I've never gelled with tabletop dungeon crawlers. I like video game dungeon crawlers.
Well, okay, imagine a video game dungeon crawler, and then you roll a dice to see if your sword hits. You did it. That's Dungeons and Dragons.
I don't know. I don't know what it is. And I have now played like a few times, and I'm like, yeah, I can appreciate what's going on here, but something doesn't.
Yeah.
Often click, at least, and I don't know if it's like mechanically, like just as in like, for some reason I'm not, or whatever.
But I think the big issue with big fighty tabletop RPGs is that you take your turn. Oops, my sword didn't hit. Now I'll wait half an hour for everybody else to take their turn.
Have you played a Dicey Dungeon?
I have, yes.
I feel like maybe we steal Dicey Dungeon's dice stuff.
I enjoy that. How do we do that?
I feel like the Warrior's the simplest one.
To explain what Dicey Dungeon is, it is a roguelike where you play as a little dice person, and at the start of each turn, it's a video game. At the start of each turn, you get a handful of random, like pre-rolled D6s, and then you can put those into certain move cards that you have. So it's like Slash does dice plus 2 damage. So you can choose which of your dice to put into that slot.
And then you get some weirder ones where it's like, oh, you just need an odd dice for this, and it will do this effect. There's lots of effects. Or things where it's like, oh yeah, this weapon needs a minimum of 3 or can't work if it's over 5. You know, there's...
I like that as an idea, though, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like we could steal that, just give people like that's how equipment is, and that's what they have instead of stats. And then I almost feel, I don't know why, I feel it's because I for some reason imagine this as Finding Nemo. I kind of imagine this as like max 2 plus a GM.
What, one's Marlin and one's Dory?
Yeah, that's as far, I feel that's as far as I go. But also maybe that's me just trying to address that you do stuff more quickly if there's only 2 of you.
Fuck it, let's streamline this even more. It's 1 player and a GM. It's a trick-taking... No.
It's some kind of trick-taking fighting game.
Who would do?
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I think maybe it is like GM versus player, and it's like a deck builder.
Yeah. So we steal the dice thing, and then I guess we also steal like the jesters, because the jester has because you have 6 characters in Dicey Dungeons.
I never unlocked the last one.
Little dice. You know, imagine me with a shrink ray. Imagine the shrink ray backfires. Dicey Dungeons.
You turn into 6 dice.
Because I'm a medium sized. I don't know. Yeah, jester. I keep saying gesture.
We're back to speech issues.
Jester.
Yes.
Has cards which like cycle through and stuff.
Okay. I didn't know that. I never unlocked Jester, so.
Jester's fun. and I think is kind of the hardest one to play sometimes. Or Witch. I find Witch very difficult.
Yes.
I'm trying not to derail this into a video game podcast. An area I'm well aware the world surely needs more of.
Oh, absolutely. That's another spin-off show. That's Game Broth.
Is board games game cake?
Biscuits.
Oh well.
Oh well, that's covered. Yeah, Game Biscuit. Couldn't conceive of such a thing.
Some kind of game-based biscuit area. What do we have more to figure out with Skyward Shell? Are we naming it Skyward Shell?
I mean, I think that it kind of works.
It works. It feels self-explanatory. I don't feel like we need to iterate on it. I feel we'd only be doing it for the sake of making ourselves feel more creative.
And to stop Alyssa, girlfriend of the show, from saying you didn't fully expound upon that idea, Chloe.
Oh, we're microcasting. Did you say Alyssa, girlfriend of the show?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel we're good on Skyward Shell. I think she'll be fine with how much we've got. Because I feel any more, and we're opening a Google Doc. I feel the aim of the show is we get to the point where if we go further, we open a Google Doc, and then we say no.
Absolutely. That's our mission statement. Everything but the actual text of the game.
Yeah. If I pick up a pen in a recording, something's gone dramatically wrong.
Yes.
I'm satisfied with Skyward Shell, and I feel I'd be interested in reading it, and maybe I'd be interested in... If it was 1v1, actually, I think I'd probably like that.
I would back at the level that gets me the special deck with all of the, the cards that you build your deck from.
Yeah. Back at the fancy tier. I wanted to do that. I had an idea to do the Transgender Deathmatch Legend, and then I looked how much it cost, and I was like, ooh, I might screw up. And...
Oh yeah, we were wanting to do that for Bitter Curl, but it's like, how much would art for every single card cost? And it's like, oh, too much.
Yeah, could repurpose public domain stuff, but I guess
I'm not smart enough to do that. I used to be, but
you're smart. But I get you. That is effort. So, do we go back to the pantry now?
I think so. Yes, we let that one simmer. Put that one in the fridge.
I am thinking, because I've got so many good options, but I also want to make sure whatever option is useful.
See, I'm just going down the list.
Oh, in order?
Yeah, it generated 30 random words. Dear God, I hope we never have to use all of those in one recording session.
Yeah, that's the real underbaked special.
For this episode of Game Soup, proclaim, salt, feign, solve a mission. That's it. That's your podcast.
That's like if instead of taking the feedback of one of those was undercooked a bit on board, we were like, no, you want to see undercooked. You want to see raw food. You want to see chemicals that have not yet even formed into shape.
Here's some soil.
It's going to grow eventually, and you'll be happy with it.
Have you got a word?
Yes. I'm going to go with a word, which should be... I'll go with this.
What's the word?
Console by
Chris
Junkfood Games. Junkfoodgames.the bit. Console. With a question mark. I don't know if that was part of the word. I'm not sure how we're dealing with punctuation.
Console?
Oh, console. Is it console, actually?
Well, my word is verdict.
Verdict and console feels like... I feel this is a simulator for comforting someone after a trial. I don't know if I want to make that game. What would verdict and console be?
It's witness protection simulator.
Witness protection simulator. Maybe witness protection simulator is you make a character in one game, and then you have to keep converting that character to other games, and they're hiding in that game.
Oh. I've done
And,
that before.
and then it's like, oh no, you've been discovered in Morkborg. You need to go and holiday in Wanderhome. Oh no, sorry, you blew your cover in Wanderhome. You are now, unfortunately, getting beat up in Transgender Deathmatch
I
Legend.
think that's just my game of Die.
We've reinvented Die by episode 2.
Yeah,
We've
well.
made it a bit about crime.
What else do we need? Next game? No.
What else? Yeah, okay. What else could we
So
do?
verdict and
Verdict.
console.
Console or console?
Yeah.
You relitigate the console wars. Every single
I don't hate that.
battle line.
It's like Model UN. Like one player is the what do you call it in a
Prosecutor?
that's the one, and the other one is the defense. And you've got to it's like one of those party board games.
Yeah. This is loose. It's a one shot.
Yeah, you play it when you've had a few bevs.
Characters are emergent rather than like made.
And I think it's you get given some absolutely nonsense thing that you've got to argue for and against. Like, do you think crisps should be flat or wavy? And then you've got to prosecute or defend the idea.
I once had I think there was a card game I once played where it was like, yeah, you would always get given these two comparisons and you'd be having to argue. I think you were building a domino chain here rather than
Yeah.
like arguing them against each other. But it's like you'd have to argue why they were connected and other people would propose different things. And then people were like, the way I approached this game was apparently, yeah, you started cutting wrestling promos on people's arguments. People wanted to stop. Just to like go up and go like, oh, I'm the coward, Daniel? I'm the coward? Let me tell you about a coward. A coward is someone who thinks that Wheaties are more related to the concept of snow than, I don't know. But then that game stopped getting played for that reason.
You stopped getting invited.
I once said I'll go play that with my family, and either like we'll really line up on it because we're all slightly argumentative pricks, or I will destroy my family.
Yeah, I couldn't ever play a game that is about arguing with my family because that sounds like it would just start a real argument.
It's risky. It's a gamble, and I got talked out of it. Actually, I think I just forgot the game.
Wow.
But yeah, you relitigate any kind of ridiculous arguments, but you are posing as prosecutors and defense.
Yes.
It's always like the matter of
Xbox versus PlayStation.
versus PlayStation. In the case of the Nintendo 2DS versus this, in the case of 3D cinema versus that. Maybe it's a game where like where like the aim is partly about never breaking character.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't break kayfabe or you lose.
Yeah. I think this feels most like an improv game rather than a role-playing game.
Yeah, definitely. It's a party
for better
game.
or worse. Yeah, it's an improv party game. I don't know if winning is winning. I feel like being
I think you don't have to win the argument, you just have to make a case, and if you ever break character, you lose.
Yeah. If you ever stop treating things with the seriousness it deserves. Yes. Part of me feels like, and I definitely feel like that it would get shot down on a legal sense, is like, oh, then the game should come with like just some like printouts of like, oh yep, here's Xbox on trial, where we've done like a personification of Xbox or stuff. And I feel like saying like, yeah, we're just gonna stick the Xbox logo in this game. Is where people would go like, don't do that.
I think you can get away with the like written out word Xbox, just like not the logo.
Not the logo stuff. I think that's the thing. You'd get away with it writing, and I'd be like, oh, let's do some funny art for it. People would be like, oh, please don't.
I like the idea that this box game that you buy in Waterstones comes with 2 little fake barrister wigs.
Yeah. A gavel.
Yeah.
Absolutely a gavel. Barrister wigs are apparently really expensive.
I would expect so, yeah.
They look kind of like shit.
I mean, the only audience, the only demographic that buys them is lawyers, and they have money.
Yeah, to be fair, if I
So
was making barrister wigs, I'd rinse them. Maybe this then has an accompanying game, which is a 12-act where you have to do 12 Angry Men.
okay, I think maybe like you have to convince the other people who aren't currently barristering.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, this is like how much. So we've got like prosecution and defense.
yeah,
Do you get a judge?
I think
I feel
you don't get a judge, but you get like the other players out of the jury.
yeah,
And, like
and
one
I
of
guess
them
any of them
has
can just
the
be a
gavel.
judge at any
Yeah,
time. They can just swap into that role. Because I'm like, it feels like not ideal to be like on it all the time.
yeah,
Yes,
like it's a rotating thing. Yeah.
I feel we're at the Google Doc point. But what do we call this game? I feel it would be like the case of, and then we pick whatever one it is, whether it's of
well, no, I think
Xbox
you
first.
have a pile of you like have a list of a pile of like cases in this box, like Xbox versus PlayStation or Shreddies versus Cocoa Pops or whatever.
Yes. So maybe it is the people versus some nebulous concept that sums up the thing.
I think it's
The
like
people versus never breaking kayfabe.
no, like the People's Court or Jury of Our Peers or something.
Jury of Our Peers is good. I like Jury of Our Peers. So I feel we'd have to take this to a doc next.
Yes.
I have a third-ish idea.
Yes, you were wanting to talk about something.
Yeah, which is not involving going to the pantry, but just a random stupid thought I had the other day of a game where your 4 stats are your letterbox favorites. Your letterbox 4 favorites.
I enjoy this.
What are your letterbox 4?
Let me open up the app. Letterboxd for, I was going to be mean there, but for those not in the know, is a movie review app. So
it's good reads for films.
Yeah. My letterbox favorites are Moonrise Kingdom, Lady Bird, About Time, and The Secret World of Arrietty.
I have never seen About Time. I've seen the other 3 and like them all.
It's a good rom-com. Richard Curtis, love it.
Yes.
What are your letterbox top 4?
My letterbox top 4 is Please Baby Please, which is like a weird camp psychosexual fever dream type thing.
I'm not
Dial F for Fake, which is the Orson Welles documentary about art forgery. Shirkers, which is a documentary about some like student or maybe not even student, maybe just like teenage filmmakers and like a guy who stole their film from them, and then Spirited Away.
Yeah. But we both got the Studio Ghibli on there.
Yes.
I don't know. So let's work out how those work as stats. Yeah, so Moonrise Kingdom, I'm thinking be a child.
Skills. Be a child. I'm also like, well, you've now got camping skills and scout skills.
Yes, camping skills, being a depressed teenager.
Yeah.
Ladybird, I think, also gives you depressed teenager skills, though, so...
I'm also going to throw it out. I can't remember how old she is in Arrietty.
I don't even know. 14-year-old says the description. So, the teenager who wants more from her life.
Yeah, I'm seeing some common themes.
And About Time is just a guy who can time travel and flirts with Rachel McAdams.
You've got time travel. That's actually really good. Whereas, Please Baby Please, I think that's anything to do with flirting or dancing or being sexy. But also, there's like gangs in that, so I think that's my violent stat. Because I don't think any of the other 3 are my violent stat. F for Fake, I guess that gives me art forgery and also is any kind of, I'm being a loud and charming person. Oh, listen to me talk in a... Shirkers is... The thing is, I've got 2 documentaries which are partly about filmmaking, which is redundant and is going to mean that my stats are over-specialized.
Oh, like mine aren't.
Yeah, true. You've got time travel. I feel like I have no big fantasy powers unless I argue for something from Spirited Away.
Yeah, I mean,
which would be the argument. I'm also like, could I start arguing like, well, Spirited Away, that means my character can speak Japanese, or is your character you?
I think your character is you, and it's a game like Interstitial. You get sucked into your favorite films.
Oh no!
And your skill list is your letterbox top 4. So, please, baby, please, like you're saying, it's your persuasion stat, it's your flirting stat, but it's also your violence stat. F for fake. What? It's for forgeries. It's for deception. Shirkers, I think it's like your stealing stat.
Yeah, or the youthful exuberance stat.
Yeah, that too. And Spirited Away, I'm struggling with. Is it like being able to slip through the cracks? Is it about cleaning things? It's been years since I've seen Spirited Away.
Is it about people and your ability to connect with people?
I like that. That's better. That's a good steal list. I like it.
Yes, I'm now. Yeah, I feel more well specced than I did when I realized I had 2 documentaries.
So mine, like Moonrise Kingdom, like camping, shooting a dog with a bow and arrow.
Oh, don't do that.
It's one of my skills. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh,
giving
just because you
to
can do so good doesn't mean you have
to. Ladybird having Catholic guilt. Got that in spades.
Are you Catholic?
I was raised Catholic.
Ah, that I can see that. That clicks some things.
I'm hurt. I think it's about having fake names and not knowing quite who you are. It's about upsetting your friends.
Damn. I feel like I expected this to be a silly game, and then gradually I'm like, oh no, because most people's favorite films are not things they're flippant about.
Yeah.
Or not favorite films, but your letterbox top 4.
No, but then you use these powers to go into Aladdin.
Yeah.
Steal the lamp.
But I guess like it is a Interstitial feels like a good touchstone. What would we name this?
Like limelight or some like movie term.
Limelight's good. Stealing the limelight, the silver screen.
Like, what the hell is the Letterboxd logo? Whatever that is.
Dots. It's shit. I'll just throw it out there. I don't care. I'll say it. I think the Letterboxd logo is not good. It looks like some kind of
Reddit reckons it is the additive colours in a beam of light from a movie projector.
Weak.
Yeah.
Projector though, I like as a title.
Yes.
Projector, our hearts entwined. Probably can't steal a subtitle. Unless I'm like, is that an homage or is that just plagiarism?
That's plagiarism, yes.
Yeah, I went too far on one side. But yeah, I feel it's like jumping into film universes. It's making your own stats. I guess your characters are you.
Yes.
Does this have a GM? Or is this GM-less?
I think it has a GM, yeah. Like, someone has to be like, and then Aladdin steals the bread. I guess that could be GM-less. It really depends on what sort of vibe you're going for. If you did want to differentiate it from Interstitial, GM-less, done.
Yeah, my gut would, like, the reason I was wondering about GM-less is just I was like, oh, presumably every time you're doing this you're mostly jumping into films that everyone has seen. Not like the generic everyone that everyone at your table has seen. And you probably talk about that. And then I'm like, well, if you've got that backing in terms of like, well, we all know what happens in this film and what the world of this film is. Yeah. Maybe a GM role is a bit less necessary.
Yeah, I like that because it's like, oh, and then what if so-and-so appeared?
Yeah.
Like, oh, and then Abu appears. And
yeah. And I guess in terms of the... What if we take the bread from Les Mis and bring it to Aladdin, and then they vote. But I think it is maybe like the exact stuff with your moves, and a structure of a session are a bit not locked in, but maybe there's a procedure there that makes it easier to just be
I think there's a part of arguing, oh yeah, I can use Moonrise Kingdom for painting, because he paints in the final scene. Like, you have to argue your case for each of your stats.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I feel like also GM-less and maybe not your characters not being entirely aligned, I feel does invite people more to call bullshit on, on your stats, which I think is part of the fun of going like, no, you don't understand. She recognizes the pigs at the end of Spirited Away. I think that means I, have a good command of animals. And I think I can use that to roll here. And like, if everyone's like versus a GM, or not versus, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, if the characters are broadly aligned, people are like, I don't like it, but I'm going to let her go along with it. But if there's a bit of tension, people go like, Kayla's full of shit, Kayla's full of shit, Kayla's full of shit. Projector. Skyward Shell.
I feel like Projector needs a subtitle.
Projector does. Projector.
24 frames a second. I don't know.
Yeah. Projector. And then like just of the phonetic thing of the universal title. Projector. Bum 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 bum. I was about to just go off on a tangent and be like, I'm surprised they never knew a wrestler who came out to that as a theme on like indies. Yeah, Projector.
What else did we have? We had Skyward Shell.
Skyward Shell, then the People's Court. What would you most want to make if we were making any of these?
I think the People's Court kind of just makes itself. You could sit down with a bottle of Vimto and just be like, yep, there's 50 ideas I could argue about.
Yeah, you can do that in a day.
Google fakebaristerwigs.com.
That feels like, yeah. I feel making the People's Court, the whole process of that is way less about like writing the game, which I reckon you do in a day, and more about like building the thing you sell to people.
Sell it to Big Potato and...
Yeah. Which game would you most want to play?
I think I'd most likely to play Projector, because I've done like 3 odd campaigns of Interstitial.
I haven't played Interstitial. I'd like to one day. And also you like playing yourself, because you've done that in your die.
Yes.
So, yeah, I think I'd really like to play Projector. Then I think I'd like to try...
I would try Skyward Shell at a convention.
Yeah. I think I'd really like to read Skyward Shell.
Put it on my shelf and never touch it.
Or maybe it's like, I'd either read it and be like, oh my god, I'm actually so jazzed about this.
Yeah. I'm
going to play it with a friend immediately. And it also probably wouldn't take much to organize. So I think I'd be likely to give it a try. People's Court. I think I'd have fun, but that'd be so depending on the group. I feel that's one where like I'd only want to play it with people like I knew well. I would not want to play People's Court at a convention.
No, it's sort of straying into that Cards Against Humanity space.
Yeah.
Like it could be a bit dangerous depending on the group and...
Yeah, you'd also need to like, I guess the only other thing of making it would be like checking the topics and being like, oh, there's nothing accidentally really serious about this. Where someone's going to bring up something like, well, now I'm bringing up something real and dramatic. And it's like, oh, mate, we were all just having fun wearing our silly little wigs.
No, it needs to be like Streaky Bacon versus Rashers or whatever. Like,
yeah, my vote for the one I'd most like to see would be Projector. I'd have the easiest time making People's Court, and I'd be interested in trying Skyward Shell, but I also kind of feel like I'd be the wrong person to make it.
Yeah. It feels like, well, anyone who has any knowledge of making a dungeony crawler, I tried to make one. I kind of bit off more than I could chew. Too many classes.
I've never made one party. I'm just like, I don't think I should make... I actually saying that I am working on a game which is at least like fiction-wise a dungeon crawler. It just doesn't, but also it's like a BOB game.
That's cool.
I like that, but that's kind of me addressing the thing of like, yeah, I sometimes like the stories of like weird dungeon crawler games like Going Under or whatever in video games, but I've never cared for the mechanical feel of tabletop dungeon crawlers.
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever read it, but Venture by J Dragon
Yeah.
works a lot in this space.
Yes. Yeah, no, I read Venture and Dungeon. That's it. I did a lot of reading of different BOB games, and I'm like, should I read more dungeon crawler games? And I was like,
no, don't
no,
pollute your
because
brain.
it's not working for that. Which is this is I'm now suddenly worried I need to clarify, like, this is not a value judgment or whatever. I'm just like, yeah, it's not clicked with me.
It's not your kind of game.
Yeah. But Projector probably would be.
Yeah.
So
Because
we've made 3 meals today.
Wow.
3 delicious soups that will keep us warm in these winter months. Quick, let's huddle around the soup.
For warmth and games.
We can't let Frosty the Snowman get the soup.
Thank you for listening to Game Soup.
Thank you. See you next week.